The only rules we agreed on were not to have any. Somehow you end up in that same space. Numerous minds in a that's real anxiety before release. Maybe they're not just my memories.
I am more than I have ever been, and I have started from the bottom, holding things upon my shoulders that I automatically ain't let them see, cause I was gonna do the trauma that I promised wouldn't kill me, and I put that on my mama. Almost broke it though, life tried to hit you with the okie doke. Think she heard me call a bitch instead I got for Loki smoke. Why that almost dying be the thing that would provoke me though? Yo, she knows, suffer pills to swallow, maybe overdose. You did drugs, homie, like what the fuck, homie? Damn, tried to hang himself, and y'all just worry about the rope he chose. I was so lonely with quote unquote homie. Sorting who is who, it puts me lower than the host ago. Yo, put myself in the gut, it's something I'll summarize. You ain't gotta have more than just the sunrise. Why they killing these caterpillars? Someone like I, time jump assumptions can't affect the butterflies. Sheesh, what multiverse and them living in? I don't know. You ain't gonna keep it real, then forget it, then just admit it, stupid critic. You living like pretty bitches sitting with us, we didn't like man and myself for what? Any energy you see me giving them, y'all still throwing singles of cinnamon. Somebody right now yelling Zimmerman, throwing in rice. Why? Cause they think it's a price. Me and Tamir not forgiving them. Your life ain't a movie, shit isn't riveting, thinking it's groovy. Too many innocent, feeling the clip, feeling I'll get it then. Jeez. Are we living with or we living against? It's hit or miss, but if I get defensive, it's not a mechanical pencil. I don't condone it. I am just sensitive. Back records, well, it is extensive. Lies being sold, it is expensive. Say something, think it's cheap to get rid of them. I heard about them on all before I had my coffee. Y'all want me to act like shit ain't costly? Let's pause for a second and think about how calm we've been knowing all these are not anomalies. The fact you can act normally has been a warning we took costly. And now a part of me is like, we gon' pick up. You told me it'll be okay, okay. When's that gonna be? I got people waiting outside like it, okay. You down to make a move and they got the tools, I swear don't play, don't play. It's a different type of morning, time to wake up, damn the makeup. I'll just show up my face all day, I'm ready for a switch. Switch. Shots put a bird in the sky, then they following tight, so you might wanna switch. They don't wanna fight, they just wanna steal light, am I right? Sheesh, what multiverse do you plan on dying in? Warrior teacher, I can prove I am him. I have come up from the bottom, Leviathan, hired to crucify liars, admired when shit hit the fan. Well, and we was down, weighing in a firefight. All still, sick of meanness, you copyright. Ass John paid the price trying to stop a fight. By George, I don't think anyone got it after Floyd made it a riot night. I'm not annoyed, or that feeling's tired. I'm far from destroyed. Back to feel higher than any moment prior to this dying light. You gon' fight in forms, you fighting with us, take the right to calm. Light this shit up, pull out the baby like that ain't shit. I don't condone it, I am just sensitive. Track records well, it is extensive. Lies being sold, it is expensive. They say some think it's cheap to get hired. I heard about Jacob Blake after making the mistake of waking up and checking my Facebook. If you don't think starting your day face a wasted life because a face that looks like your sheesh, I don't think we could be like minds, at least to give you the space needed to basically peace. And maybe one day you'll understand. Until then, I'ma pick up when you told me it'll be okay, okay. Well, when's that gonna be? I got people waiting outside like, hey, okay. We down to make a move and they got the tools, I swear don't play, don't play. It's a different type of morning, time to wake up, damn the makeup. I'll just show up my face all day, I'm ready for a switch. Switch. Shots put a bird in the sky, then they following tight, so you might wanna. They don't wanna fight, they just wanna steal light, am I right? I'm ready for a.
All right, everybody. We are here for an amazing episode of Let's Get Activated podcast. This is episode 110, everybody. You know, salute to everybody who pulled up. We are live right now on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, CertifiedNationEntertainment.com. We're also on the Tattoo Shop Radio, Cuzzo FM. We just everywhere. We everywhere today. You know, Waptor Music FM. You know, we're doing it. Culture Shock Radio. So I'd like to introduce my special guest today. If you don't know him already, we got Armani Rain in the building.
Pleased to be with you again. How you doing?
Man, pleased to be with you. And I gotta, use your term. Sheesh.
Sheesh vibe in the building. Salute for that.
This is definitely going to be, a dope episode, definitely humbled, to have you on. So we're going to learn everything about you, Mr. Armani Rain. And we're also going to break down this dope album that you have out, the project with the last rhetoric. old tales. This is gonna be dope.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and I'm very excited to be here. Ever since I've saw you with City, and I've seen you with Kid Vicious, I've seen a couple other episodes. You do a fantastic job. I'm absolutely humbled to be here. You've been an extremely helpful supporter this entire time. Nick sends his regards as well. He's sorry he couldn't be here. He's definitely in the dungeon right now, cooking up something new. So yeah, I'm ready to get this thing going, man.
Hey, truly appreciate it. Definitely shout out to you and the entire Alien gang. It's definitely family for sure. You know, shout out to Nick, aka Bro Safari, because he definitely does his thing. So you send him my regards too.
Absolutely.
Definitely. So, you know, before we get into, you know, the album, you know, the great visuals that we were watching, you know, we kind of want to get a history of you, Mr. Armani Reigns. So, you know, where did you get your start? You know, growing up, you know, when did you fall in love with music?
At the expense of showing my age here, I've been rapping since since rapping. You know, I was inspired by KRS-One, the Fat Boys, all those coming up, Kumo D, Rakim, you know, just all the old school hip hop heads. Like I always wanted to rap. Like I wrote poetry as a young kid, but I was just completely fascinated with hip hop and battling in the streets and things like that. And it's just something I carried on through school, house parties, lunch table, banging on the table, you know, all the classic old school ways of just growing up and wanting to be a rapper and idolizing that thing. But because I was a poet too, like I really wanted to study all these different MCs and really learn the art of writing as well. Did a lot of freestyles, did a lot of battling. I can even attest some things to one of the only memories I have of my father is back when I was like 14 years old. He would take me to the streets of South Philly. When I told him I rap, it was the first thing he did. He just took me to the streets of South Philly, and like we would find people on the corner, and he would just put me in ciphers just to see where I'm at. And once he saw that I could hold my own, I think that's when it really clicked for me that like maybe there's something here, and I should continue doing this, you know. And yeah, so I was doing that and doing MC battles all over the place, anywhere I could find it. And then I won a battle on Power 99 or 103.9, excuse me, with Zulu and the Fam. I was Cypher champion for that for 3 months straight. And then the game got a little interesting, and I wasn't really feeling battle rap at the time. It's not the sport that it is today. It didn't really see a future in it at the time, silly me. So through a mixture of other things, I started going to different parties, so going to different raves and warehouse parties like that, started emceeing the drum and bass, and the rest is history. We can talk about that for sure. That went to a different way, saw the planet because of it, and just been rapping ever since, and always keeping a hip-hop core. Even while I was doing that, I was with a hip-hop group with a good friend of mine named Sharpness, and we had a group called Mental Sharp, and we released a couple mixtapes on that while we were also doing the drum and bass thing. We're always grounded in hip-hop, always rapping hip-hop, making sure we do both. I was just fascinated with so many different genres. Yeah, I just love to rap.
Yeah.
This comes back to that.
Hey, that's a good thing. You know, the great thing about hip hop, I definitely think, you know, to love hip hop, you definitely have to love and explore various genres because it's a combination of, you know, so many genres,
For sure.
you know. And, you know, I definitely want to, you know, say, you know, salute to your father for taking you out there, supporting you to battle. Because, you know, you have a lot of parents that's like, oh, no, you rap. I don't want you to do that, you know.
To be fair, he was only around for that little section of time. My mother pushed me from that point on. Yeah.
Right.
Salute to my mom.
Right.
Mom Deuce is the one who brought me up. I was just the first memory of me actually like stepping into it. And then obviously he flew the coop, but my mother saw
Right.
my passion for that and put me in front of certain people to continue that passion on. For
Oh,
sure.
well then I also got to salute your mother. Then salute to
100%.
the queen as well, because
Salute Mom Deuce.
it's nothing like having a parent's support. You know, especially in this game, it's nothing like having a parent's support.
Yeah, there is no greater being outside of my wife than my mother, for sure.
I love it. And was she like attending some of like the shows too back in the day?
The shows didn't come at first. Before it was just, you know, I've had a very storied past of trying different things. I've done everything from working 3 jobs at a time just to pay the rent to I did JROTC in high school, almost went into the military due to 2 screws that were in my elbow at the time. I was denied, which is a beautiful thing. um, I tried many different aspects before I finally almost hit rock bottom and was like, I'm just going to follow my passion, because at the end of the day, no matter what happened in life, I always came back to music. The only thing that's ever saved me from the deepest, darkest depression stages in my life, it's always come back to rap. Always. There's never been a moment outside until I got older and I had children and a family, of course, but
Right.
it was nothing but anytime I was in a moment or needed to be out of it, I'd find myself rapping. Everything that I've ever accomplished in life has been from me saying, screw it, I'm just going to throw everything, caution to the wind. It's always been just putting my foot in the dirt and seeing what happens. And it's always been with rap every single time.
Hey, I can say, music itself has saved a lot of lives. It's very therapeutic. It raised a lot of us. It got us through a lot of rough patches. So I understand definitely where you're coming from.
Yeah, I mean, hip hop heads were our fathers back in the day, like when we didn't have the fatherly figure in the house, we had the KRS-Ones, we had the Nas's and the Biggies, I mean, that's what we grew up on. That's when we was out in the streets acting stupid and crazy. That was the soundtrack. That was what we lived by. So, yeah.
Yeah, you're right about that. That was like my, sometimes my babysitter, the music, because I kind of came from a single parent household as well. So I truly get it.
Yeah, but I'm not mad at it. We're here now, right?
Yeah, right. We're here now, on the 50th anniversary, mind you, of hip hop, talking about it.
Salute to that.
Yeah, how does that feel for you, just sitting here at the 50th?
What's been beautiful about it? I started to notice before the pandemic hit that bar spitters, writers were kind of having a bit of a renaissance. And the pandemic, for all the things that it did, kind of sat everybody down too and kind of pushed a lot of the microwave stuff to the side. And the writers started coming to the forefront more. And over those years, it developed to where we are now. And I feel like this is the prime example of history repeating itself, of it's coming back to its natural state. There's a lot of appreciation. Even there's younger MCs now who are very lyric driven and saying something, you know what I mean? So I think it's the best time. When we talked about what the golden age was, it's good to see that the new generation will also have a golden age too. It's good to watch it evolve.
Definitely. It's a good feeling, like, to watch it evolve. But then for us, what we want to say, old heads, to still give back to, well, in a good way. This is a good way.
I'm fine with it. I'm good. I'm good. I'm glad I'm here.
But us here just to give back to the youth, maybe guide them in some ways. But I see a lot of people within our realm. We still try to support that pure hip hop as well. So we leaving kind of room for everything.
Yeah, and we've learned to let them be themselves as well. We can guide and support, but we've also learned what happens when we gatekeep and how detrimental that can be. They've got so many more influences and connects and access to things that we didn't have. And, there was a time we were kind of bitter about it. And the fact that we're letting them be themselves and hopefully have that conversation with them so that we have that understanding, then we can all grow together and watch this thing do what it needs to do. They've so many different influences from different genres of music, and they're just all combining together. And it's a beautiful melting pot, which is something I've always wanted from the beginning. As you can tell by my musical background, it's a versatility. I don't really have a preference of anything. If it has a beat to it, then and sound, I'm going to it. So it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it truly is, and I definitely got to give props to you, you, the rest of the Alien Gang, you pull up for, the battles with Vish, and you just give people opportunities who might not get opportunities otherwhere, just to come on stage, show what they got, but then you give them advice, you know what I'm saying? Like guiding them without, trash talking them. So I love what you guys are doing with that too.
Yeah, I have to big salute to Vicious, Devious, Sirius Jones first before anything is any conversation starts on that. These guys have been every day for longer than I've been there, way
Right.
longer than I've been there, taking time out of their day. They could totally be doing something else, and they spent time and energy every day to pull up and give people a place to speak. It's about the bars for sure. We come in there and we big each other up, steel sharpens steel. We love the dojo. We battle each other. We battle anybody who wants to come on, or sometimes we just showcase skill. But even when we're not doing that, there's many conversations of just how to be a man, how to deal with certain issues that you don't really get to talk about anywhere else. You know what I mean? Like, it's a real community, a real family once you get inside of that. And we've had our ups and downs and arguments, but even in the arguments, you try to have a positive response and understanding and have patience that hopefully gain some perspective. And it's helped me a ton. I know it's helped a bunch of other aliens as well. That's why we all roll together. We've been doing collabs back and forth, pushing each other to be better, man. I really couldn't have asked for a much more beautiful thing that came organically. I tell the story all the time. I was like a lot of MCs who come on, when I was just that guy trying to get on Royce's Live. I was just like, I want to the point where I was almost like, if people really saw me,
Right.
hey, buddy, why don't you calm down? Like, I was kind of thirsty, but Vish said, hey man, why don't you pull up on my live to general, not even to me, just in general, pull up on my live so we can get to meet you. And I hopped on there, battled some dude named Paradox, salute to him. I won the battle and they were like, all right, you're on the round 2. And I was like, wait, what? And like, hold on, I didn't realize I didn't know what I just bit into. And we went through the whole tournament, and through that tournament, I tell the story all the time because a lot of people ask, all right, well, you're there now, like, when you want to get on a verse with Royce. And the most beautiful thing I have learned about this community is, while I was trying to get on Royce's Live, I've become so close with all these people. Like, that is the last thing on my mind at this point. Like, I am so lucky to have found that same street corner vibe I talked to you about in the beginning. I haven't felt that in a long time, and I have that here in this community with a bunch of other rappers who are also just trying to get back to like, we've all kind of been pushed to the side, the older cats, and the newer cats are looking for a place to go where they can just be themselves and not have to rap about what the industry, or what the game will tell you have to rap about. It's strictly about the bars and about the music, and the collaborations are happening. It's a great thing, man. So thank you, Vicious. Thank you, Devious. I mean, that's how I met you. You know what I mean? It's
Yep. That's how it just everybody, tying together. And also, not only that, but just education. I know you've, had your take in sync licensing. I've been on the live when you kind of, discussed it before. And, this is important stuff, so you got to, I know you've had some music and different things, you got to do some humble bragging about that. Don't make me read the bio. Go ahead. You got don't make me read for the people.
Honestly, again, it's one of those things where putting your foot in the dirt and just pushing. And to that, it's funny because if we're going to talk about my drum and bass background, because as important as hip hop has been to me, drum and bass has been essential. It gave me a place to go. I'm not a street dude. I'm not a whatever like that. It was just like, it was a place. The drum and bass scene, especially back in the days, is a place where anybody can go and be accepted. And I considered myself quite the misfit to hip hop for EDM, to EDM for hip hop. That kind of vibe used to be the mantra as we moved on. But it's a music that generates basically out of the UK. And I met wonderful DJs who took me under their wing. I met a guy named Mason from Philly who put me part of the Gasm crew. It's tattooed on my arm here, and put me under my wing and gave me a red tape called Suppin's Jungle with SS and Skibbity. And for those who don't know what drum and bass is, basically there's a documentary coming out right now, by the way, being directed by a man named Protege. It's called The Amon Break. There's a link in my bio if you want to check that out. So basically what they did is they took the most sampled drum line in history. It's a 7-second drum sample, and they sped it up twice. So you get like, so, and then they put really funky bass lines behind it. There's a lot of Jamaican sound culture involved. And it was at the time, and still is, the melting pot of sound, and futuristic as well. So you can get all kinds of elements in there that I had never heard before. So he handed me this tape, shout out Formation Crew, of SS, Foxy, and Skibbity. Skibbity is probably was one of the greatest MCs in drum and bass history. God rest his soul. Nicest man I've met on the planet to this day. There was never a point in my life I've seen him upset or anything like that. And he was so versatile and skilled. And Foxy was almost like the voice. He had a different thing. These two contrasting styles over this complex music completely blew my mind and changed everything. And I was like, I want to do that. So Mason took me under his wing, took me around, all Ill Skills crew from Philly and Jersey. Substitution, shout out Henry Adu. Introduced me to some people. I started my first residency at a place called Ford in Philly with Carl K and all them boys. And then eventually Diesel Boy gave me a look at a club called Platinum, which is where every giant headliner from around the world used to go to. Philly was like the quiet mecca for drum and bass. And that's where I met names like Goldie. I met Kenny Ken, who took me all over the place. Shout out to DJ Craze, who took me around the world. I wouldn't have seen this planet without him. 6-time DMC world champion, also in the world of hip hop and drum and bass. I traveled the world with Andy C. These people, as much love as I get because I bring my hip hop art form to their sound, and it was respected and accepted. These are absolute titans that allowed me to sit on their shoulders and survey the scene. So I owe a lot of everything to them. And I bring that up, one, because it needs to be said, and two, to tie in, like, what's that got to do with License and Syncing? You will be surprised for as small of an American culture as we've been fighting for, how deeply entrenched drum and bass is throughout the world. And a lot of the people that I work with, shout out Field for Music and the whole Artisan family, they're all old school drum and bass heads. And that connection between them doesn't die. Everybody who's a junglist, I wear it proudly around my neck. It's something we hold very dear. It's not EDM. It's not electronic dance music. It's a proper culture. Not saying that the rest of it isn't, but
Right.
Anyway.
Right. It has its proper name and its own separate. Now I get it. I got you.
It's a little different.
Yes.
Yeah. It's funny. We did. I have a deep love for video games. I don't deny it. I don't hide it, and it's worked in my favor. So I get to not have to. One of the guys I worked with, who was one half of a group called Lodestar, love them, check them out. Nick Hill had a alias named Artisan, and he was working. He's like, "Yo, man, I'm working on this commercial for this video game. I want you to check it out." And he sent it to me. It was for Agents of Mayhem, which was developed by a company named Volition. For anyone that doesn't know who Volition is, Volitions are the same people who made Saints Row. So he actually sent me the thing with lyrics on it, and he was like, "Just rap this." And I was like, "Hey, man, I know Volition like the back of my hand. I've played every game they've ever played. Let me rewrite these lyrics." So I did, and it clicked. And we did the trailer for Agents of Mayhem, which started a steamroll of working together. He's an amazing producer, very, very versatile. He makes anything from house to dubstep to hip hop to trap music to rock and roll, which is right up my alley because I love to be as versatile as possible. When people send me collabs, I say, don't make the beat for me, make what you want to make, and I'll meet you on the top of that mountain.
Hey.
So we started doing, the next project we did, actually, he was like, "Hey, man, I got this project for a video game called Just Cause 4. And he sent me one tune, and I did it immediately, sent it right back to him. He was like, "All right, well, I got 2 more, and 2 became 6, 6 became 12. And next thing you know, we did the unofficial soundtrack for Just Cause 4. They pulled me out to E3. We did interviews out there, and it's kind of moved on. Before that, I worked with West Bay. That's my man, Atlantic Connection, Nathan Hayes now. He also took me to South by Southwest. He had all kinds of license syncing, put me in with Netflix and all kinds of MTV stuff. So I've been in that world for a while, thanks to, again, these people who just network, beautiful human beings who just love to make different styles of music all the time. And because I pride myself on versatility, it's worked out in my favor. Songs from the Just Cause 4 got picked up for Fast and Furious, and there's other little things that do library stuff for. And my whole goal in that right now as well is, and the meaning of Reign Creative is to hopefully bring all of these things together so I can be that nexus to somebody else as well, especially now when I'm connected to a bevy of talented MCs with styles that range all over the place. It only makes sense, to be able to put that out forward too, so everyone can have their music on random stuff. I tell people all the time, man, like they're just asking for it. Like all those producers, we got beats sitting on your thing you're never going to put out, send them. You have no idea how much they're looking for your stuff. So hopefully I can help with that.
Wow, that's so amazing. It really is. I mean, I know you humble on it, but it's really amazing. It is. Like, salute to you for that. You what you say?
I said I'm working on it. We're not there yet, but we're working on it for sure.
Hey, we're working on. Look, every day is about elevation, and I see that you're just continually. I've studied. I've done my research. It's always like some elevation with you. So you're there. You're on point. On point. Speaking of which, before though we get into this amazing album, before we get into that, I do want to talk a little bit about you. Recently, you did have like a show over in, was it Tulum, Mexico?
Yeah, Tulum, Mexico.
Tulum, Mexico. I can't even say that right. But thank you for fixing that. How was that?
Fantastic. So Locust Festival is what it's called in Tulum. It's run by a man named Ritesh who does Ticket Ferry as well. Shout out to them. Free plug, Ritesh, you're welcome. I love you, man. It's a good guy. And again, there are many giant festivals that happen around the world. Sun and Bass, Hospitality on the Park. They're across seas. What's special about this one is it's not far from the States. So everybody from the States gets to have that experience closer to home. And that's the mission that he's been pushing forward. So it started, he had one before, but the main one he started was last year. And this year he doubled down and pretty much brought out so many different titans across the drum and bass community. You guys have seen the flyers from London Electricity, Goldie, TB, AMC, names that are just colossal in the game, and put it all down and just brought us all down. And we all worked together to make it roll. It was a 4-day festival, 2 parties, one in the day, one at the night. They had one at the beach club. Then one time it was in the cenote with absolutely magical experience. And everybody had an absolute blast. And I'm hoping that it continues to grow. Because it really means something. We have festivals around the nation, EDC, there's a bunch I can name. We'd be here all day actually. But we used to go down to Miami every year, once a week, right around spring break for Winter Music Conference. And that kind of died down a little bit. So this kind of being its replacement, having some place to go again where we can all get together. And the fact that it's in Mexico on the beach is just,
yeah.
I keep talking about all the other stuff, but let's keep it real. I mean, on the beach in Mexico, eating tacos, like it was a beautiful thing. And I was absolutely honored and humbled to be there for sure.
Wow, that's wonderful. I brought that up too because it happened this month. You've had quite a busy month.
Yeah, well, between the pandemic and trying to recover from my accident, it's been a time to sit down and build and let things grow. So now that I'm working towards my new 100 and things are starting to pick up again and everybody's out and feeling positive and trying to make the best of life. Yeah, we've got a few things planned up for this year. And finally, all the stuff that I've been working in the shadows is starting.
It's coming out now. It's out.
It's a lot. We're not done.
Yeah, you're not done at all. Now, on March 10th, which interestingly, that was a day before my oldest daughter's birthday. She turned 20. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. So, you dropped the album Old Tales, Last Rhetoric project, between you and Bro Safari. Now, I want to just give you your flowers for this because this project is one of the most cohesive projects I've seen between lyricism and a producer. Like I feel like you guys were like just the sound of it, like you guys were together because I feel like his music captured the story, your lyrics captured the story. You had moments and when you just weren't saying anything and the music was just playing, just carrying on the story. You could hear just the different elements, the feeling in it. You guys did a great job on this project.
Thank you. This is where I profess my love for the man that is Nick Weiler. There was a point in time in my drum and bass career where things weren't exactly going the way I would like them to. And through a series of events, I started touring with him. Now, Nick is probably one of the most prolific, versatile producers I know, period. He started off making drum and bass in a crew called Evil Intent, which was like legendary to the US scene. Shout out Gigantor and Treasure Filling Fingers. And then he was doing mashups that were absolutely colossal with someone who's now known as Kill the Noise, who's also gigantic, Grammy-winning craziness. And then he started doing a project called Bro Safari back when Festival Trap first started, and was doing. He's pretty much known as everyone's dad, like the nicest man on the planet, family man, beautiful soul, and just makes the sickest tunes no matter what genre you're in. I don't care what you put in front of him, he'll do it and he'll make it really dope. And I had the pleasure of joining Bro Safari and going on tour with him as his MC. And even when I do these things, I'm not just up there hyping shows. We worked on things together. We would have rap at certain parts, freestyles at certain parts, but he would just completely, most DJs would go up there and spin records, and like the way they mix them and double drop is cool. This man would spend weeks getting stems from other people and recreating all their tunes to make this giant cohesive set that was just so energetic. And I've always appreciated our friendship, and over those years forming a brotherhood with him that means more to me than I could possibly explain on this podcast. And during those tours, we always talk because, he's from Atlanta. We're both old school hip hop heads. He's from a punk band. I've been in a jazz fusion band. We're both just versatile cats who just love old school grimy hip hop. You know what I mean? And all we ever did, we'd play a show, go to a green room or be in a hotel room, drunk, arguing about hip hop and what it would sound like if we would do an album. And that conversation happened for 5 years, and then we stopped doing the Bro Safari thing for a multitude of reasons. And it made us both sit down. It was kind of like, okay, I need to claim my independence. He needs a breather. Nothing bad. Just like we just wanted more, take care of our mental health. And then the pandemic hit and sat everybody down. And we had actually started working on a song right before the pandemic hit that didn't come out until after the pandemic called To the Few. And that song meant a lot to us. We didn't care about numbers or anything like that. It meant a lot to us to speak about. And that was the moment where it was like, okay, I think we really need to like look into what we're doing. Like, the way the man speaks through instrumentals, and he was hell-bent, and this is why I love him to death. He was hell-bent on making sure that I was heard, and I was making sure that he was heard. The respect between the two of us, as you can tell on the album, is undeniable. He's always pushed me to be better. If something's wrong, he'll tell me immediately. And he's guided me through many things. And I wanted to make sure, as you can tell, the album was extremely therapeutic for me. We did the entire album. It was finished. We sat on it for a minute. And then we looked over it again. We were still making music. And the music we were making was better. So it's funny, we watched an interview with Rick Rubin. And in it, he mentioned a thing called the ruthless edit. And he said, I want you to take your 6 best tunes that you can't live without.
Mm-hmm.
That's the part of the album. You scrap the other ones. And then we added new music and kept going. So it became a longer process, but in the end, it was well worth it. But there was never a point of, all right, we need to make a song for the club or we need to do anything. The very first thing you hear in that album is the only rule we agreed on was not to have any. And it's going to continue to be like that. It's not, we're not here to fit a trend or anything. We're here to make music. And I'm not going to tell you it's going to sound like a thing. All we know is that we want to firmly supplant one foot in history and in the other in the future. And not history and like, I want to be the most historic being, just in our roots. You know what I mean? Like, it's all about making sure we can sound retro and futuristic at the same time without any compromise. We're not trying to do anything. We'll have a song that's got one hook in it and then the beat switches completely. Like, it's just about having fun again and being creative and building art and keeping it in the realm that we know and true to that form.
Amen to that. You truly, truly showcased it in this album. So you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do a song for song breakdown, every song. Look, I got them numbered for you. We good. Before though, you know, we got to start it off. First of all, we got this dope album cover, which people can see here on the stage. So what was the meaning behind that album cover?
So we we went through a couple different aspects of trying to get album artwork done. Again, I tell you basically how we wanted to make sure there was the old with the new. That has been our theme. You know, I'm not young. It's fine. Cool old dude, you know. We wanted to make sure that. So throughout that process, there were talks of Glass and Stone. But my thought on it, as well as his, that we came to, was making sure that it looked organic. So it's basically heart and skull, so your heart and mind, and then the skulls are the organic part, but also historic. It's fossil, it's decayed, it's, you know what I mean? So you get both of those elements in the same. Everything I do from my ambigrams on down is all about symmetry as well. So they had to make sure that it was symmetrical. Not only that, you've got pretty much of a yin and yang situation going on with the light and the dark. So all of these things revolve around the same to make sure that you can have one foot in the present and one foot in the past, while still being organic and structural at the same time.
I love that meaning, and you know, I'm seeing the yin and the yang on the stage here. See, it's just a nice setup with this cover. So, who would have known? Who would have known? So, you know, we're gonna start off with Old Tales, which we actually, you know, it started off the show with that. So break down Old Tales.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Old Tales was it's funny, we didn't do these songs necessarily in order. We crafted them afterwards. But Old Tales, we wanted to make sure we had that really old school from the jump. Like, we want that old school rip. We want to make sure that's the sound, the first things that hit your face. No warning, no nothing. Just, I am more than I have ever been. Like, you know, it's just on some old Beastie Boys, like, let's just get dark. But at the same time, while that's the sonic nature of it, again, this album was very therapeutic. So I wanted to make sure that we started with the history of it all. You know, like, I wanted to talk about. Sirius Jones asked me, what do I want to portray through my rhymes? And my answer was that no matter how many times you get kicked down, you're always going to get back up. And that was this song. It was like, look, man, like, I've seen the mountaintops and I've seen the bottom, and some of it self-inflicted or whatever. I've battled addiction. I've conquered a lot, but it was a struggle, and a wrestle with myself, a wrestle spiritually, a wrestle with family. And no matter what, you can rise above it. But I want people to understand the fight that goes in it too, and hopefully find it relatable, because no matter what the situation is, it's stuff we all go through. So I am more than I have ever been, and I have started from the bottom, holding things upon my shoulders that I automatically ain't let them see. You know, it was like things you would hide. You wear your pride on your shoulder, but not really. You know, like, who do you let in? Who do you not let in? You know, but should I not let down my moms? It's like, I've got a family. All of these things I wanted you to feel, while at the same time understanding that you can feel powerful within that too. Like, embrace that, understand it. Yeah, it sucks that you went through that, but it made you who you are. Like, that I needed all of that to be said in the very first song, you know? And even when you have that part where it has the hook and then it comes back and then drops down.
Mhm.
And pretty much in that moment, we were going to do a whole video. I'm kind of cheating right now and letting y'all know things y'all not supposed to know. In the original thought of, because everything we did with the album was thought of visually as well.
Mhm.
I basically die in that moment, and it's me ascending and just talking about like, man, what did I leave behind? Did I do this right? And that's why you get that breath of air, like, with my second chance of living, I'm gonna give him what, you know. So you have that situation there, and that's the breath of fresh air to say no matter what happens, don't stop. We're gonna keep going.
Wow. Wow. And next we got number 2. We got Apple Juice.
Apple Juice was one of the new additions. Another one as well that was super gritty. He wanted to picture yourself on a subway train, you know. Let's go back to like the real essence. Like, okay, now we told you about my beginnings. Now let's start to tell the story on where I grew up. So, you know, you hear that it sounds like a subway train. It sounds, when I was raised in the corner like love and bad news, it's almost like you can feel standing on the street corner, you know, like you can smell the smells of Philadelphia, like, you know, creeping through, or the dirt parts of Dirty Jersey. Like, I wanted to make it sound like we were almost in that night scene, like in the back, like all you see is our silhouettes, and we're just, the fog's going, and we're just yelling that whole thing. But I wanted to make sure I get the nostalgia in the hook, but I wanted to hit you with bars. So every single line is a double entendre, every single one, or a triple entendre in some cases, so I can get that real essence of just rapping, bar spitting again. And because I like to do different voices, what a lot of people don't know, and I'm about to show my age right now, for all my old heads out there, that entire flow is a dedication to Nine. It was one of my favorite songs growing up. Yeah, what you want, Nine? Mad bitch with my mind. I make moves on time with it. Like that whole thing was, I have to, if I'm going to shout out and do an homage to somebody, I don't want to do the classic thing that everybody else does. Let me dig into crates, you know. We used to do mixtapes, and like, even when we did mixtapes, DJ wise, I'd pull like all the hip hop Honey Dips in Gotham, and you know what I mean, like stuff you haven't thought about in a while. Oh, now where my homies? You know what I'm saying? Like, so that was like my homage to hip hop. At the same time, it's like, okay, you want the street shit, you want the spray cans on the train, and then okay, let's do that. We're gonna bring it back to some Nine, and you know, Apple Juice. Like, everybody loves Apple Juice, right?
Yeah, for sure. And we got number 3. We got Black Metal.
Black Metal was a little more raw. I was in my cocky bag. I apologize. Look, man, Nick sends beats to me, and I'm not one of those people that's like, I'm gonna write this rap in 45 minutes and I'll send it back to you. It's not gonna happen most times. And then there are some beats that he sends to you that just punch you in the face the second you get it, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna stop what I'm doing right now. And a lot of people know me for super fast flows and you know, trying to get syllable wordplay and all that. And this one, I was just like, this just sounds like some slow rock and roll thing. So, you know, death metal, dead singers, hard brings us, hard vengeance, hard nickel, dark steel. Like, all I want you to do is this the whole time, you know what I mean? And just try to bring that hip hop, rock and roll grittiness to it. Talk a little trash, you know what I mean? And just play with some bars a little bit over this. Once again, absolutely phenomenal beat, simple, but it's very just like head noddy drive in. So I called it Black Metal, and you know, it's almost like if I'm going to throw some rock and roll legends on there, black rock and roll legends, Jimi Hendrix, you know, Lauryn Hill, you know, Nas. It just had to be that way, man. So yeah, I love that track. We're gonna drop the lyric video for that at midnight too, so you can hear a little bit of a wordplay in there.
Perfect time. And yep, I was gonna say dropping at midnight. It's scrolling on here, so yeah, you gotta go to the Last Rhetoric YouTube page, you know, to peep that midnight drop.
Absolutely. We'll put it up everywhere. But yeah, go over there to the Last Rhetoric YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe.
All that.
Tapped in for sure.
Definitely. So then we got number 4, we've got Triggered.
Triggered. You know what I love about Triggered? Triggered was one of those songs where like I did it and I didn't know how anyone was going to receive it. And the fact that people like it, that was another one. As soon as he sent it to me, I sang it in my head. It's got a lot of soul to it. He played a lot of that himself. He during the pandemic, he learned how to play the piano. He was like, "This is what I'm doing." I'm like, "Of course you are," and he nailed it. It's like, it was like anything Nick can do to level up, he will do, just to be creative and be happy. And this man sent me this thing that was just, to me, sounded so soulful and just, and then it still had that gritty hip hop beat to it, and it just, listening to my mother sing and my two beautiful sisters, shout out Paula, Tiffany, and my brother Donovan, listen to them sing all the time. My niece Cadence, these beautiful church singing people that just, I am just an old soul trigger. Hold up, let me go slow with it. I just felt that little bit of country in there too, but I still wanted to snatch beats like I got 4 fingers. For anyone that loves UK movies, like Snatch was a legend. Goldie's in that, by the way. We had the man with 4 fingers in there. So yeah, it was just a fun thing to play with words too in this really soulful country song that I could still talk a little trash to. And all of these songs, even within my bravado, still have a bit of pain in them. It's just a different way to talk about my pain. Is some of the bravado is to push off the burden that I've held sometimes. It's almost like when you're told you ain't nothing and it ain't gonna work ever for so long. After a while, you like, I'm gonna go back to putting my foot in the dirt. And that song, it was fun to play with, and I'm glad I got to push that on.
Definitely, a very, deep song too, and I love the, the versatility in it as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I love the whole album. So we got number 5. We got Tools.
Tools is very important to us. So earlier I mentioned we did To the Few, which was what a lot of people don't know. The first verse is actually a suicidal note, and then it's a 3-part song. The song's like almost 6 minutes long, and it's almost 3 separate songs in whole. Again, it's about coming from the ashes, right? It's about falling down, getting back up. So that first verse was deep and personal, and then you got up because we were in the middle of the pandemic and we needed to speak about the riots, and there was so much misunderstanding about what the meaning of that was and why, people talking about the meaning of BLM and yada 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 and all these movements and disagreements, and I needed to speak about it. Tools was basically part 2 of that. It was, okay, we put To the Few down. This is going on the album. He sent me that beat and I sat with it for a minute. I ain't gonna lie to you. That was not a sit down and right away thing. That was because I heard it like you probably heard it. Because I've watched people react to it and how it's that gun clicks and then you got the little doom doom clink clink and it sounds so different. And I was just like, man, you bodied this. But then when you hear that rise and the beat switched completely, and I went like, okay. And I knew in that moment this was going to be part 2 of To the Few. Everything from Ahmaud Arbery to all the other people that were being slain by police and we had to bring back and mention, I had to speak my half on it. And as much as I love Kendrick, it was kind of my response to that, not in a negative way. We Gonna Be All Right was like the greatest song ever. Like we wrote that song so much in positive moments to get us through. And it kind of was my response is like, you told me we're gonna be okay. Well, when? It's like we're still going through this no matter how much we fight. I've watched friends literally on the front line of protests, going to jail, getting shot, all kinds of craziness for change. And I've even been yelling from the top of my lungs. We all have. And it just seems like we continuously fight this uphill bill. So it's just like asking, like, okay, like whose side are you on? Like what is it? Are we living with or are we living against? Like it's hit or miss, but if I get defensive, click, click, it's not a mechanical pencil. I don't condone it. I am just sensitive. Like I'm vulnerable. Like I'm
Mhm.
human too. You know what I mean? Like what are we doing? Because there's a bunch of other people outside who aren't as nice as me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I'm trying to tell them, nah, it's gonna be cool, and it's not cool. So
Right.
are we cool? We're not cool. So that was the whole premise of that song. It's just like light with the dark. Again, like we can talk dark, but let me speak to you in a nice way. You know, it's shots put a bird in the sky until they found them a light. It's all orchestrated.
Yeah, that one beautifully done, by the way. Yeah, that transition got me too at first. I'm like, wait a minute. It, it completely, and that's kind of what I was explaining. Kind of, the music also tells a story too. Is it completely changed the whole just tenor of it. So
Yeah.
oh,
It's fun
nicely
building
done.
with him, especially on stuff like that. Because I mean, it wasn't that elaborate when he first sent it to me, but then every song he sends, we go through it in sections and just build on it. Half the time, it's just that first section, and then I'll do whatever, and then he'll go and build some more, and we'll do more, and then it just the tracks always build like that. It's very rare where we just he sends me a whole tune from the jump and I just spit on it and we just do it. It's a collaborative effort from beginning to end to make sure that's why there are transitions sometimes that don't even make sense it makes sense now, but you know what I mean, like
Right.
unthought of stuff.
All right. But that's what it's about. Teamwork.
Absolutely.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Amen.
So, yeah.
I'm
So
lucky
then
to have to do that.
yeah, for sure. So then we got number 6. We got Aware.
Aware, originally titled Sorry. That was another one. That was a bit of a confessional almost.
Mm-hmm.
I liked playing with the words in that. It was almost like saying sorry in a condescending way. It's what, like I'm walking unprepared, man. I'm so sorry that you thought that that's what was going to happen, But at the same time, I got to tell you, again, it goes back to people mistake bravado as cockiness. It's not. It's just, let me tell you what I've been through. I'm starting to wake up now. I feel good about myself. Awakening from the slept on, underrated, kept going, ignorant, celebrated. Your favorites get crept on. Like, it was just, this whole album was me speaking my demons left and right from my own times where I thought maybe I probably was being a little too brash, but here's why. I've been through a lot. Even for the successes I've had, there's stories about that don't need to be shared here, but it's just
Right.
like, again, whether it was outside influence or self-inflicted, the common denominator is me. I luckily have the ability to speak on it. So that's what Aware was about. It was like, I'm fully aware of both my flaws and my possibilities.
Respect that. Great meaning behind that. So now we got number 7. We got Mad Boy.
Another true confessional. That song, if you want me to talk about Nick and like you have to have almost a multi-genre background from EDM to punk rock to when that song came in and I heard whatever that noise is. I still to this day have no idea where that came from. Like I haven't the faintest clue. I was just like, I've never heard anything like this. And I wrote that day on the spot. Excuse me.
Wow. No, you good?
And I went in there and I wanted people to know, because a lot of people see me, it's all bravado. It's on stage and just, they hear my EDM songs and it's just like, get your hands up, da, da, da. And I just got to be like, yo, man, like I'm going through it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but I can be okay. And I've come through it. And no matter how many times you flip back and forth, it's going to be all right. So it was just like, I don't fear it anymore. It's not that like when I have bouts of depression, I just fight through it. It's not easy. I'm not going to pretend it's easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's something I deal with. Life is a work in progress. It's never going to go away. You just got to push, and you just can't be scared of it anymore. It's just like, okay, this is what we're doing now. It can get to a level where it's crippling, but I know that everything is temporary and you're going to see the other side of it. So like, there was a point, but there's never going to be ever a point anymore. I have too many things to live for. You know what I mean? So I'm not worried about that. It's the very first line. No longer suicidal. Hell, I'm twitching because I'm anxious. I'm excited. I'm excited. It scares the shit out of me, but I'm excited. And it's okay to feel like that. And again, we keep going back to embracing what that feeling is, you know? So that whole song is basically a testament to that.
Wow. Wow. Definitely relatable to a lot of people, believe it or not.
I hope so. And that's the other thing too, is not all these stories are just mine. I mean, even some of the details in songs aren't just mine. I speak to a lot of people behind closed doors.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all find each other, right? It's like you can tell, you can see it in certain people's eyes. Is when you stop. I don't know how to word it. When you start looking at the world differently because you've been there,
Mm-hmm.
you start to see little things in people, and you try to help them as much as you can. You know, and I've luckily at proper times had someone help me, so it's important that I be vulnerable and say more than just in a DM. Like, okay, this is my gift. You want to know how I really feel?
Mm-hmm.
Here you go. So hopefully if you need to, you hear the song and hit me in my DM like, yo, man, I've had that happen. I did a project with Society of Numbers that I had a lot of undertone stuff. And 10 years later, I had a friend who I've known for a very long time. I was like, yo, man, I was going through it and I listened to that and it helped. And that means more to me than literally anything. So if my cracks can help somebody else, then I've done a good job. I've made my mother proud.
Amen to that. Amen. Amen. So now we're going to go to number 8, Time Lapse.
Time Lapse was a fun one. It used to be called 2020. We changed it to Time Lapse because we didn't want to put a stamp on it, a expiration date, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
That song actually came from, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the song Golden Brown. It's written, parts of it are written in 3/4 and then it drops into 4/4. The golden brown whispers like that song.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear it from time to time at like really crucial parts of my life, which is very strange. And once I hear it, it's stuck in my head for a month. So I called Nick and I said, hey man, I really love this song. And he was like, because it's in 3/4, right? And I'm like, yeah. By the 5th time I mentioned it, he was like, all right, man, I'll write something. Which is a skill. It's not easy to do. You know what I mean? It's easier for me to rap on a nerd level. Because people always say, like, if you're rapping in 3/4, what's the difference? And I'm like, honestly, even though it's one less measure, it actually gives you more to write about. It gives you more room to breathe. You know what I'm saying? So like all where you would have ended, I actually get 2 extra measures mathematically. So it's fun for me to be creative in that. So find a way to still be able to rap to that and still sound like trap. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It was like how can we do that? And then because now we've changed the signs, now the rules are completely out the window. So by the time I got to the end of it, I want you to know when he sent me that back, he did all the post-production and, you know, the I am like all of that is Nick and his futuristic mind.
Wow.
Tapping into things that I know nothing about. Like I do that lyrically, he does it instrumentally, and he continues to show that evolution. No matter where he wants to go and where we want to take it, we can go there. And there are not a lot of people who can do that like he can. So yeah, Time Lapse was fun to write. That was a good writing exercise while still being able to speak my truths within it. That one was for my kids, really. You know, and yeah, constant theme of the album.
Hey, shout out to the kids too.
Oh man, you know, I work that in there with
Yep.
I love my babies. My ladybug Jayla, she just turned, she's 14. She's just turning 15 in June. And
wow.
My youngest Sage Grasshopper just turned 11 in March, which is wild to me. I don't know how I got here, but
it's crazy. Mine just turned 11 in January. My youngest.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Serendipity, isn't it wild? Like they are literally the most beautiful things on the. I still don't get it. I watch them every day. I talk to them. I take them to school. No matter what time I'm finished work at night, I can be sitting here, whether I'm talking to somebody else on the phone about music or working on a video till 3 a.m. Every weekday, I'm up at 6:30 to take them to school. And those rides, to me, even are mind-boggling and refreshing. Every chance I get to speak with them, they're just amazing. They make me smile, and they're just as funny and sarcastic as I am every day. And, yeah, shout out my wife Sarah, who, couldn't be anything but the perfect mother to raise those two beautiful children. Yeah.
Hey, shout out to the Queen Sarah too. Always got to shout out the queens, because helping to hold the family down and being supportive. So
yeah, she more than holds the family down. That is a super fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why she deals with my shit, to be perfectly honest with you. But yeah, she's she is absolutely the driving force of this house for sure.
That's awesome. So now we got number 9. We got Pharaohs.
Back to my New York. That was my Love to New York song, man. That's for all my New York heads who wanted to get back to the grinding. Everyone's always, when are you going to spit that real shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, I hear you talking about your feelings a lot, but damn. I was like, all right, cool. You want me to get angry? Let's get angry. So, what's fun about that is there's a lot of references. There's a lot of references about me being an EDM MC.
Gotcha.
Glorified hype man. I got into a battle one day because somebody said that's all I was. It was like, oh, how's it feel to be so-and-so's hype man? I'm like, please don't use that word around me. It's disrespectful. And he was just like, I mean, that's what you're doing is hyping up the crowd. I'm like, bro, I rap. Like, I rap, and I will body you. Yeah. I'm not always like that, but in competition, like, once you cross the line, fam, smoke is smoke. Everybody wants smoke to that detector go off, is what my man G-Buck always said. But yeah, like, so that was kind of my song. It was just like, okay, his hype man can write better than your best answer to a myth you urban stiff should write down. It's just like, yo, y'all think I can't rap? Okay, cool. And he hit me with the bam, 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 bam. It was so grimy street shit, bro. I was just like, I just got to spaz on this. Like, it's not even about anything else but me rapping the rap. Like, that one was straight old school hip hop. I don't care what y'all talking about. I'm just about to rap real quick.
Hey, there we go. Makes perfect sense. So we got number 10, Sidearm.
And then we bring it back to center, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like a continuation of Tools. What's fun about this tune too is while we were putting this album together, Nick produced all of the music. My man DJ TB, who's a phenomenal producer as well, and an even better engineer, lives overseas, mastered the entire album. I did all the skits, all the soundscapes, everything you hear in the background, all those scenes that I do. I did that, try to do in 3D audio. So if you listen to them in headphones, they sound kind of cool. And so I had the same people I did the podcast. Shout out my rap team, Track and Valiant MC. Hey, family business. I hit him up. I said, yo, man, I need y'all to act out a scene for me. And Valiant was very upset that I asked him to be a racist cop. But he did it. I told him what to say. He sent it to me over, and I spent the night making sure I can get everything down to the window, the police chirps and radios, all that. And because I needed to make sure that led in, because Pharaohs was all about being at this show and just crushing it, on top of the world. And at any moment, you could leave that party and get pulled over. And it's happened multiple times to all of us. You know what I mean? I tell people about the time we did the D&B Liberation Front in a state I won't mention because anyway. So beautiful show, beautiful. Had a great time. We all went out afterwards, right around the corner to this diner. Sat down. Myself and Sharpness were there. Only Black people in the entire restaurant. Everybody in this restaurant is drunk, wilding, acting crazy. Just came from a show. It's great. Good times. I'm tired. I don't know if anybody knows me after a show. I'm not trying to wild out. I'm trying to eat my food. brain's been moving at 175 BPM. I'm like, yo, can I just get some like so?
Right.
At that moment, I'm sitting there, I get a tap on my shoulder, and I'm like, yo. I look up, and the waitress is like, "You two can't be here," you know. And I'm like, "Oh, did I say something?" Like so oblivious, you know? How we are like,
yeah, like
what?
what?
You right in the face, you don't even
Right,
realize.
right,
like, everybody else, and then
right.
and then she points to the door, and there's two good old boys, just cops, just sitting there, just like, "You two only," and I'm like, "Oh, word!" Like. Not that anything, that's a quick, easy story out of zillions I can tell. But
Right.
the situation is just like you can be chilling in that moment, having a laugh with your peoples, and the next thing you know, here come the bullshit. And those type of things stick with us forever. And that's what Saddam was, that I needed you to leave that moment of feeling on your highest high to now coming back to reality that will always smack you in your face when you least expect it. And unfortunately, it continues to happen. So, you know.
It really does. But it's stuff that's got to be talked about. You know, fortunately, you know, us and a few people are still here to be able to tell these stories. But unfortunately, like, you know, snap of fingers, we've had a lot of our people that unfortunately are not here, you know.
No. And yeah, all we can continue to do is keep pushing it on, you know, and continue to talk about it. I'll never shy away from it. You know, you can tell I don't care about followers or anything like that, man. I'm gonna speak my piece when I need to speak it. I've spoken at any political moment I've needed to. And, you know, this is the gift I have. You know, if I can speak about it, I'm going to in my way. And I'm not going to pretend that I'm Malcolm X or Marcus Garvey or anything like that. I can only speak my truth from my perspective, but you're going to get my perspective, you know? So that's what's up.
And I respect that. You know, you said the freedom, you know, to speak your perspective, you know, anytime.
That's what life is about.
That's right. So now we're on to Flagrant.
Flagrant. I'm going to make fun of Nick just because we were in a serious moment. So let me bring it back to, let me have some balance, you know, back and forth.
Okay.
I fought for this, man. This one almost didn't make the cut. I was like, bro, you gotta listen to me, man. I love this song. We actually finished this early on, and I think that's what it was. It was more just like because it was one of the older ones. He was kind of like, we've moved on, like this. And I was like, nah, man, this is important to me, like to the few, but in a different way. You know, this is a different way of speaking that truth. Like, excuse me, there's a lot of things in that encompassed everything we had said about the album so far was in this song. You get to switch flows. Again, another song where he switched tempos and just like, I love long intros. I love spoken word. Anybody who's followed us on Alien Gang knows my affinity for spoken word. Shout out Brandon Leak. He's like one of my favorites out there, which is a well-known name. That man almost damn near put me in tears while I'm watching America's Got Talent. I'm like, I'm watching AGT. Why am I?
Why am I crying? What's going on?
I came here to watch people get pies thrown in their face. Anyway,
oh man,
guilty pleasure for sure. But that was a song similar to the few where I just give me that long intro, man, and let me speak while you do your musical thing in the background, because he does it so well. There's so many little things in the background that just trigger emotions. And when the beat dropped, it's just, okay, so let me simplify. I'm a simple guy with potential. This is the whole thing on fire. Like all the things that we had talked, everything in that album is talked in sequence in that song. And yeah, it was important to do.
Wow. And then, you know, we ended with Overflowing.
The introduction to the next chapter, yet closing this one. And another song in 3/4. This actually replaced the original outro for similar reasons. And this was another one that starts off speaking to my kids, but in the world in general. But, you know, it was kind of like... It was a nice way to release the album. Just, I don't really know where we're going, but I can relax just knowing like all of these roots keep going. There's so many, like, it was a way to bring it back to center again. We keep going up and down, and I want that balance, and I wanted to write something that was beautiful and soulful, and I felt Overflowing just did that. I didn't want to end on something like da 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 da.
Right.
Like I wanted you to ease out of it, to go listen to whatever you're going to listen to next, or put it on repeat. That's fine too.
Yeah.
And then
That's even better.
yeah, you just put it on loop. And also still feel a bit open-ended. Even when we had the original outro on there, I had people hit me up like, you should say something at the end. I'm like, no, because I don't want to make it sound final. You know, we wanted to let you know, like, we're just getting started with this. Like, no matter what we talked about right there, how much this therapeutic album was for both of us, there's more to come. And the title Overflowing is a direct shout out to a biblical reference, obviously, My Cup Runneth Over. So, you know, it's like, no matter what we've been through, I am extremely blessed. And a lot of it is because of the people around me and the roots that have been planted. You know what I mean? So we stand on the shoulders of each other, like the totem pole. All of that is just like bringing it back once again.
Wow. See, beautiful album. You see why I made you do this breakdown? You see because it just opened up. Yeah, you're right. It opened up so much additional conversations. Like you just never realize what a song can do until you really start talking about it. See?
Yeah.
Wow. So they gotta tap in.
Yeah, it's funny because when you release an album, there's a strange multiple things for us too, because it's a brand new IP. I mean, he has a legion of friends to begin with. We don't like saying followers and fans. He has a legion of friends that recognize him for what he does. And people, I have a bit of a crazy demographic as well, but starting a new IP was scary for us. But we knew that from going in. He said from the beginning, he was like, yo, man, let's just make this an Armani Rain album. And I was like, never in hell. It's not going to happen. This album doesn't happen without you. It needs to be a collaborative effort. It's a longer road, but I refuse for it to be any other way. This is our project. It's not an Armani Rain project. It's not a Bro Safari project. It's a Last Rhetoric project. And yeah, the thing that happens when you release an album that you poured your heart into is like giving away a child. It's just like, and so going over it just now brought a lot of that emotion that we put into it back, you know, like this meant a lot. So for anyone to have received it positively, for everyone that's listened to the album, thank you. For everyone who supported us, thank you. If this album meant anything to you, thank you. It means a lot to us in ways I possibly can't understand. You probably see it in my face. And it's not the end. We've got a lot of stuff coming. Some of the tracks that didn't make the album are still there. We are making more music. And yeah, we're looking forward to the future. And thank you for caring.
Oh, no, of course. And, you know, for anyone who hasn't heard it, you know, definitely have to hear it. You know, Old Tales, Last Rhetoric, you've got to hear it, everybody, if you haven't heard it yet. You know, it's out everywhere on all platforms.
Yep, you can get it right now. It's literally found anywhere. You can go to Bandcamp, you can cop it, or you can stream it absolutely anywhere you can possibly think of. And if you can't find it, at Armani Rain on Instagram, and I will find a way to get it to you.
It's all there, you know. And also, you know, not only at Armani Rain at Instagram, but we also got at Last Rhetoric. There's a page for that as well.
Yes. I see what you're trying to do here, and I'm not going to say. We talked about it, but I'm
right.
joking.
You know.
Last Rhetoric.
I mean, I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah.
But put this way, it's just some great stuff coming. How about that? Y'all stay tuned. How about that?
Please stay tuned. Tap in. We have a lot coming. There's more lyric videos. There's more full-length videos coming on. I've got a couple other tricks up my sleeve. It's not her fault. I joked about it that I said I wasn't going to talk about, and then I almost let it slip. But yeah, we've got a bunch of stuff on the way. So please give us a follow, you know. Tap in, listen to a couple tunes, tell us how you feel, share it with a friend, most importantly, as well. Even if you don't like it, send it to somebody Just kidding. If you like it, send it to somebody. Let them listen to it. We're trying to spread it around, man. If you hit me up, I'm easy to find.
Definitely. It's easy to find everybody at Armani Rain. You know, for the radio listeners, you cannot miss it at Armani Rain. Or I'm going to say it again, at Last Rhetoric.
LASTRHETORIC.
Yeah. And go ahead and spell your handle too, just for the radio listeners, you know.
For sure. It's at Armani Rain. That's ARMANNIREIGN. And you can hit Nick up too, which is at Bro Safari. BROSAFARI. I almost had a brain blank there. That was crazy.
Yeah. See what Activated does to you sometimes. It just gets too comfortable and it just messes up your brain. That's what it's about.
Sure.
You know, so I do got one, final question for you. What legacy does Armani Rain want to leave behind?
Oh man, it's Sirius asked me the same thing. Free Sirius Jones, man. Super family. Wolf. And I responded that, yeah, you can get knocked down a bunch of times and get back up. It's funny because I say, it sounds cliche, and cliches are what they are for a reason. They have meaning, they have purpose, they came from somewhere. And it really sometimes is as simple as that. So for as long as I've been doing this, I've been rapping professionally for over 20 years. I've seen highs, I've seen lows, some unfortunate, some self-inflicted, and I'm still here. I was in a major car accident in 2020. I've had multiple surgeries. I've had every reason to watch myself get punched in the face. I've been knocked down numerous times, again, outside or self-inflicted, and I'm still here. I still feel like I have something to contribute, not just not for me at all. Like, I have kids. I see things differently now. I'm not perfect. I'm a flawed man, but hopefully within those flaws, I can help somebody else. So the legacy I want to leave behind is that no matter how many times you drop, you can always get back up swinging. And it really is that simple. I want to be the nexus for whoever needs something. If I can't do it, I want to connect you with someone who can. I have no problem, and I want nothing from it. I don't need anything from anyone except your ear. I don't like saying this because it's against what I say, but it's just like I thoroughly enjoy connecting other people with people.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love it to death. Like I love it. It's great. When I watch two people, especially two people that I've gotten friendly with, and you know what I mean? Like I form a bond with, and I'm like, that dude's dope. That dude's dope. And then I watch these, or woman, stop saying female. I'm learning. When I watch beautiful people that I've, seen on the inside get together and do something great, I'm like, that is, you know what I mean? Like, that's super fire to me. So, yeah, that's it. I just want to be the nexus for other people, man, and just continue to connect the world so we can gain perspective, see different viewpoints from everyone. I talk to different types of people. I've traveled the world and learned that once you gain perspective, a lot of your insight on things will change,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, hopefully I can be that window.
Wow. That's a beautiful legacy. I agree with you 100% too. It feels good to see people, like you said, you connect with, come together. I've experienced that as well. And sometimes I've had almost tears come into my eyes to be like, wow, you just see these two great people, they're collaborating or doing something. It's a beautiful feeling.
I mean, you're a complete testament to that. You know what I'm saying? This is all, again, like I join Royce's Live. I meet City of the Greats. Shout out to that man I've had long conversations with, like Israel Porter, Vicious, Deities, all these people I met through you. You've been so supportive. I've talked to King Tech, Tiff's in the child right now. Absolutely. I didn't know any of you beforehand, but you're all just so helpful and supportive and want to see people grow. And like, how can we not surround ourselves with people like that? Why would you not be like that to the next person? How can you feel the love from people like yourself and everybody else in Certified? Shout out to Write Your Own History, who gave love to me as well.
Mhm.
You know, no questions asked. Like, how can I not be grateful for that? You know what I mean? Like that. Why would I not pass that on to the next person? Why would anyone who is in this community not continue to do that? It's just that simple. Like, and I think we overcomplicate it because society does that to us. It's just we all grew up with trust issues. We've all had things happen to us that are just like, why should I trust anybody? Like, well, you know what I mean? And you
Mhm.
know, and we all slip and do whatever, yada yada yada. But as long as we have people to continually pick us up, just help the next person. Don't expect nothing from it. I don't, you know, whatever comes back to me through karma is cool. I'm good. You know, the
Yep.
universe owes me anyway.
Yeah. Hey, no, it's gonna come back in a good way anyway. Like I always say this, people have heard me say this, you know, the more we're all supporting each other, we can all grow and win together. That's the
Yeah,
way I see it.
absolutely, absolutely.
Definitely. And you know, I don't want you to forget nobody, we gotta let you get some shout outs in.
Okay, yeah.
About to say, like, you better pull out the paper like an award speech or something.
Nah, look,
No.
man. My entire Sheesh mob, man. I love y'all. Y'all have supported me through the years. Kept me afloat. Messages to make sure I'm on point. It's different. I like that. You know what I mean? I like that I can be myself, and you guys understand that. Shout out to you, Certified, and City for lining this up. Shout out to Vish, Devious, Alien Gang, all of y'all in the chat and beyond, man. Y'all seriously, I don't know too many places. I hated the internet. I ain't gonna hold you.
Yeah.
Like, couldn't stand it, yo. And I still wake up every day and check in with these dudes, man, and beautiful angels as well, man. And you know, shout out to Nick. Um, I can't say enough about that, man, but it's fine because we've got time to grow. Shout out to Mason for pulling me out of the gutter as well. You know, so many people. Goldie, book them. We've got stuff coming up. Shows. Keep an eye on that. I've got a bunch of festivals coming up, man, with LTJ Bookham. Um, yeah, we've got a lot of stuff on the plate. Shout out Mike from Corson Agency, who's been helping me out. I swore I'd never join an agency again. I had a long talk with that man. He is just a divine soul, and I appreciate him, man. So there's a lot of people to thank. I would literally be here for 6 hours if I told you the amount of people. As much as I talk about, I do it on my own. It's all bullshit. It's not true. It's never true. You got to have a supporting cast around you, and try to grow that cast as much as possible. It's not about being in a clique. It's just about being a regular human being, and try to stay pure in that. So thank you all for that.
Amen to that. Beautiful shout out. I got to say, definitely, shout out to you, humbly for coming on, gracing the Let's Get Activated platform and just the support you've been giving as well. No, it means a lot, just you, because you were like on it, sharing, just taking the time to do that. So that definitely means a lot, and such a great, individual and talent. Definitely shout out to the entire Alien Gang. Shout out to Certified. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Like you said, it's too many people to name. We'd be here all night. But y'all know Samantha loves y'all. If I talk to you, y'all know who you are. Yeah, everybody in the chat, everybody on the live, everybody sharing the live, streaming the live, rewatching it, whatever you do, it's truly appreciated for sure.
Subscribe. She
Yep.
is doing a lot for a lot of people, man. I've said it outside of here. I've talked every time I talk to you. You are doing a lot, and it is a beautiful, beautiful thing. You run a tight ship, and you are like beyond supportive, and we all appreciate you for that. Thank you so much.
Hey, I appreciate you all. And y'all remember also, you got to subscribe to Last Rhetoric on YouTube because they got the Black Metal extended lyrical videos dropping at midnight. So in about, 3.5 more hours?
3.5 more hours, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll be dropping lyric videos about twice a week for the rest of the album. And stay tuned. There's more information coming. I'm going to make it.
You said I'm going to reel it in. Definitely stay tuned. But we're going to, we have a couple more lyric videos that you did that is on. Oh, see, he's showing a little bit of it. That's just a hint. Follow Last Rhetoric on IG. I had to say it one more time. But we got I can't with you, Armani Rain. I can't with you.
It's all I'm telling you.
I know it's gonna be out there. Things are coming out. Just stay tuned. I'll put it that way. Definitely know we're gonna close out. We got a couple more lyric videos that you did, and then we're gonna run that tools again for people who might have missed the beginning. So we're running Apple Juice, we're running Mad Boy, and then we're running tools. What do you think?
I think that would be super fun. Let's have a good time. Thank you so much for bringing me.
No, you are more than welcome.
Shout out MJ too, man. I love you, man. I don't know if you were in the chat or not. My bad.
I think he was. So he hears you now. So definitely, y'all, it's been a dope episode of Let's Get Activated podcast. We're going to watch, a few more videos from Mr. Armani Rain, and we're going to close it out. But wishing everybody peace and love.
I'm high grade, S level rim, R-raid, evolution of primates away from bullshit. I church speak like the third priest, Genesis truly your third beast, who consoles some pulpits. Some screws loose, no surprises, I'm short fused. In case you wonder why the hammer's still in my toolkit. Until they ban him, I'm one man with a family, enamored by the love, not gambling with a shoulder chip. How cold is this? Really depends on what you infer. The block built off bricks rarely returns to cinder. I've forgotten more than you've learned while studying words. Left the group back in this bitch, guess I remember. 21-year Eldorado, left the event blurred. On high alert, dropped some cool shit my Amber then heard. You gangsters think your little shit sweet till I present nerds. My words play, I don't try and prevent surge. Raised on the corner of love and bad news. The days before y'all cloud chased for mad views. We were broke, but could still afford jokes and tattoos. When provoked, we would turn up folks with attitude. We was in the streets like chalk sidewalks, and last we was in the streets like loose brick banks. Look, no longer suicidal, hell I'm twitching cause I'm anxious. Oh, you think I'm weak cause I'm talking all this pain shit. You don't see the deity in me, then please remain. 13 souls, we don't walk the same terrain, shit. Dangerous. Nah, half of y'all just got the game twisted. Odd, we ain't even on the same list. Gang shit. Look, you just trying to eat, well, I'm just trying to feed when I pull up to the banquet. Changes for the better, all of a sudden now we strangers. Draw the true colors, doesn't matter how you paint shit. Married to the game like a varying arrangements. Hitting, talking still at different ranges, yeah. I don't do the blame shit, broken down be lame shit. I just aim higher than the flames get. Money or the fame, lucky if you get the claim, which shows you who was who with the remainders. They know how the ring is, yeah. Why you mad when I doubt fear? Ops mad that I'm out here. Ex mad that I'm happier. Bitch bad but I'm nastier. Bad money and I'm out there. Seafood if the bag clear. 20 years later and I'm free of nicotine. I'm a different kind of fiend. I've been smoking for the past year. Sheesh, what multiverse and them living in? I don't know. You ain't gonna keep it real, then forget it, then just admit it, stupid critic. You living like pretty bitches sitting with us, we didn't like man and myself for what? Any energy you see me giving them, y'all still filming singles of cinnamon. Somebody right now yelling Zimmerman, throwing in rice. Why? Cause they think it's a price. Me and Tamir not forgiving them. Your life ain't a movie, shit isn't riveting, thinking it's groovy. Too many innocent, feeling the clip, feeling I'll get it then. Jeez. Are we living with or we living against? It's hit or miss, but if I get defensive, it's not a mechanical pencil. I don't condone it, I am just sensitive. Track record as well, it is extensive. Lies being sold, it is expensive. Say something, think it's cheap to get rid of them. I heard about them on all before I had my coffee. Y'all want me to act like shit ain't costly? Let's pause for a second and think about how calm we've been knowing all these are not anomalies. The fact you can act normally has been a warning we took harshly. And now a part of me is like, we gon' pick up. You told me it'll be okay, okay. When's that gonna be? I got people waiting outside like it, okay. Down to make a move and they got the tools, I swear don't play, don't play. It's a different type of morning, time to wake up, damn the makeup. I'll be showing my face all day, I'm ready for a switch. Switch. Shots put a bird in the sky, then they following tight, so you might wanna switch. They don't wanna fight, they just wanna steal light, am I right? Sheesh, what multiverse do you plan on dying in? Warrior teacher, I can prove I am him. I have come up from the bottom, Leviathan, hired to crucify liars, admired when shit hit the fan. Well, and we was down, we ain't in a firefight. Y'all still sick of mean that you copyright ass John paid the price trying to stop a fight. By George, I don't think anyone got it after Floyd made it a riot night. I'm not annoyed or that feeling's tired, I'm far from destroyed. Back to feel higher than any moment prior to this dying light. You gonna fight in forms, you fighting with us. Pick the right to calm, it'll light this shit up. Pull out the baby like that ain't shit up. I don't condone it, I am just sensitive. Track records well, it is extensive. Lines being sold, it is expensive. They say some think it's cheap to get hired. I heard about Jacob Blake after making the mistake of waking up and checking my Facebook. If you don't think starting your day face a wasted life because a face that looks like yours, sheesh. I don't think we could be like minds, at least to give you the space needed to basically peace. And maybe one day you'll understand. Until then, I'ma pick up when you call me. It'll be okay, okay. Well, when's that gonna be? I got people waiting outside like, hey, okay. We down to make a move and they got the tools. I swear, don't play, don't play. It's a different type of morning, time to wake up. Damn the makeup, I can show up my face all day. I'm ready for a switch. Switch. Shots put a bird in the sky, then they following tight, so you might wanna. They don't wanna fight, they just wanna steal light. Am I right? I'm ready for it.